So I'm back in Philadelphia, 2 days of driving. The following video is just very raw recaps that I posted. It basically, as soon as I got back to my accommodation, I wanted to get my initial thoughts on the race day and how I felt and so on. So I'm presenting this separately. I do have coverage of the lead up to the race and around the race and so on, but I'm going to sort of take my time and put that together separately. I thought this is more like a standalone piece. One thing I did realize when I was down there, there's just so much going on that I would need a crew member to be dedicated to social media to film and stuff, because there's just too many things to think about, to be thinking about filming and so on. So my coverage is a bit sporadic, but I think this is pretty raw. If you don't mind listening to me talk, it's basically me talking the entire time, recapping each day. And I'm going to bring out another video that's got more sort of action shots, but I'm going to take my time putting that one together. So hopefully you get something out of this. So I'm back at my Airbnb. Reflections on day one. First of all, I don't think I got too much video, because I realized pretty quickly if I want to video this sort of thing, I probably need to bring someone especially for that, because there's just too much shit going on, too many things you got to think about, got to be here, got to be there, don't have time to, you don't even really think about whipping the camera out and starting to film. I tried to get a little bit, but overall I finished, I think it was 10 hours and 7 minutes on day one. I'm pretty happy. My goal was to finish, so I've got 2 hours to spare there. In terms of the events, so first up was the swim. As you can see, we had some what we call navigational issues. I was meant to do 10 kilometers. I ended up swimming 12. I was actually really enjoying the swim until it's 3 laps. Each lap is something like 3.3 kilometers or something like that. I was really enjoying the swim until about one and a bit laps in, when I suddenly got real stabbing pains in my stomach, and this made it difficult, very uncomfortable to swim. So, warning, TMI coming up. So I'm going to wait a few seconds if you want to go away, or fast forward. Okay, you're still listening. So I got these really bad stabbing pains in my stomach, and basically this thought that makes you need to go to the bathroom. And I tried to ignore it for quite a while, and it just kept getting worse. And so I started to think, I do 3 laps. Am I allowed to get out near the beach and run to the bathroom, use the bathroom, and come back in the water? I'm not sure if you're allowed to do that, but like I'm thinking, I had my tri suit on underneath and I had my wetsuit on. It would have been very difficult when it was all wet to come out and do that and go back. So I tried to persevere, and I think I'm just going to hold on, because I wait till transition, get my wetsuit off, and go to the bathroom then. But the more I swam, the more painful it became, and it was just excruciating eventually. And I hold on, and then I could not hold on any longer, and I had chronic diarrhea. In the end, I had diarrhea like about 8 times while I'm swimming, and this disgusting feeling of just warm, watery shit going all up my back and arms and shoulders and legs and inside the wetsuit again and again and again. And I'm like, I'm over this shit. Like, what the fuck am I doing down here? But at the same time, I kind of thought, well, surely this event isn't. This is the worst of it. It can't get any worse than this. And actually, after doing that, pooping for a few times, I started to feel better. And so we kept going. As I say, we had navigational issues. It swum 20% extra. So by the time the third lap rolled around, I got about halfway through. And I'm like, I'm sick of this. Like, I kind of started the third, and I thought I'm actually in pretty good swim shape. I could probably do 4 laps, but halfway through the third, I'm like, that's it. Like, I want to finish. Where is this finish? And I have seen video that friends have taken, and my stroke just completely collapses. I keep stroking, but it just doesn't look correct. It's like holding on for dear life. And when I get out the water, I finished, I think 4 hours 14 or something like that. And when I got out the water, could not stand up. I just had absolute jelly legs, vertigo. So every time I try and stand up, I collapse. And even when I'm on land, I collapse and need people to hold me up. So I sit down on a bench for a while. So at this time, my bike time is starting. And so get the wet. Didn't want anyone to take the wetsuit off because I'd heard this story when I did 70.3 Happy Valley that somebody pooped in their wetsuit and then the strippers took it off and shit went everywhere. So I'm like, no, 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 no one come near me. I'm taking this wetsuit off myself. But it was really difficult, and I said, okay, do it very slowly. And amazingly, there was nothing there. So I think the water must have washed it all out. And so I still had the stabbing pain, so I went to the bathroom again in the transition area. That was kind of some relief. And all up, I think I spent about 30 minutes getting out the water, stumbling up to the bench and sitting there and getting my land legs back, getting the wetsuit off, going to the toilet, changing into my bike stuff, and getting going on the bike. Took off on the bike. It's a pretty solid ride. I'm happy with this ride. I kind of had the attitude that I'll leave a few matches in the box for tomorrow. So I knew like I could smash this ride out as 140 kilometers. I'd done that many times, more than that in training. So just get it done. I wasn't overly concerned with pace. I did wear my aero helmet and I rode pretty much most of it in aero position. I was very tempted. I did not use my disc, but I was very tempted to stop and switch to the disc because it was quite a fast. The roads are beautiful condition, very fast course. I didn't in the end, and I ended up just taking my time with stops and so on, just with kind of one eye on tomorrow and conserving my legs. Came home comfortably in 5:54. That's 4:45 cycling time to knock out the 140 odd kilometers. And came home, went to get I just went to the supermarket to get some food, and suddenly I was lining up for food and just felt really queasy. I did not feel well at all. Like it's a weird queasy, like I don't know if I want to poop again or I want to vomit or I don't know what it is. I just didn't feel well. I just want to lie down. So I got some food, came home, don't feel like eating at the moment, but I'm going to have to force myself because I need the calories for tomorrow. Went to the bathroom again when I got home. This time there's a lot of blood in my stool, so there must be some sort of infection. I think I got some virus from out of the water or something. But I do have a queasy stomach, but it's starting to feel better now. Hopefully in the morning it's all going to be gone. But it's like 7:15 now. Gonna call my wife and kids, eat my food, and hopefully be in bed by 8 o'clock. I'm getting picked up at 6 tomorrow for a 7 a.m. start. Tomorrow's the big one, 275 kilometers. So that's going to require a lot of planning. I got to the end of the ride today, 143 or whatever it was, and I thought that's basically half the ride tomorrow. So I still need to find the gas to. Granted, I won't have had done a 4 hour swim prior, so hopefully I can recover a lot today and get it done. But for now, some phone calls, some food, and good night. Here we go, day two. 5:15, so I got a bit of a sleep in today, but didn't have the best sleep last night. Feel pretty good, like my legs feel good. 275 kilometers on the bike. I hope it. I hope to stay pegged is the big day. If I can get through this, I think I can handle the run tomorrow. This is more a day of management. I just have to make sure plenty of food, plenty of water. Manage my stops. I don't want to be standing around doing nothing for too long, but I don't want to push it too hard either. I've got 12 hours. But again, the big factor is the traffic. They have this rule where you have to stop at every single stop sign and put your feet down, even if it's out in the middle of the country and there's a stop sign and there's no cars in miles. You still have to stop and put your feet down. And coming back in around the city areas, there can be a lot of traffic. So that kind of affects the time as well. So I think if I have a good run, I can do about 10. I'm aiming for about 10 hours. My bike time would be about 9 hours. 9 to 9.5 hours plus stops. As I say, I got 12, so fingers crossed, it's a good day. Going to have breakfast now. I got 45 minutes till I'm being picked up. Race starts in 1 hour and 45 minutes. Day 2 recap for the bike. Probably the toughest day I've ever enjoyed in my life. Everything just seemed to go wrong. I'll skip to the end. I qualified. I got home in 11 hours and 58 minutes with 2 minutes to spare. It was just a way to start. I started out with a flat. My ride time, and my power was good. Everything was good. It was just problems. First problem was prior to going, I installed a chain drop guard, which was total shit. It's peed me off so much, and Ultraman has a rule where you have to stop at stop signs and put your foot down. So what I do, I put my left foot down, I wheel the pedal back to on my right foot to get it ready to push off. And this time I wheeled it back too much. It caught on the chain guard and basically just destroyed my chain, like warped all the metal and stuff. Thank God the Ultraman mechanic came along. The first thing was, out of the whole day, this is the one time my crew, who I'd encouraged to take plenty of meal breaks and snack breaks and everything, but they didn't. This one time they decided to drop into 7-Eleven, go to 7-Eleven to get snacks, and this happens. I had a spare chain, but they were gone for a period of time. And the Ultraman mechanic came. He managed to use pliers and so on and basically warped the metal back so that the chain could spin. It just clunk, 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 clunk. It was not a long-term solution. But he actually drove back and found my crew, got my spare chain, then drove forward and found me and switched my chain over, which was awesome. I got going. I then got a flat tire on the rear, tubeless, sealed it to about 20 pounds psi, stopped, pumped it up, went again, ran over something, I don't know what, that severed the tire, put a big slash down the tire, flat again. This time it wouldn't pump up, but I couldn't find the slash, so I was determined to get it to go up. But it's just leaking out the sidewall, and so the mechanics came again. They said switch it over because I had a spare wheel, so I switched it over. They'll work on it while I'm riding. I'm sorry, I have massive cramps in my back. 12 hours on the bike. So I switched to my disc wheel. That actually was like a blessing in disguise, because I've been told not to ride disc because it's too windy and no one was riding disc, but the disc was actually really good. So I actually was making really good time with the disc wheel. I think I was averaging about 2 kilometers an hour faster. Then word came back that the mechanics can't fix my spare wheel, so I'm stuck with the disc wheel. And then, so I'm riding, disc wheel goes flat. Pump it up, it pumps up. And I get going again. I'm looking at about a 10-hour finish time. And then there's a huge hill to climb called, I can't even remember the name, I'll put it on the screen. And they kept telling me it's coming at kilometer 143. So when I got to 143, I had a lot of climbing to do, and I thought, oh, that was pretty tough, but it's not as bad as what everyone was saying it was. Descended the climbs and kept going, and I was really surprised because my crew were really well placed all day. I thought they'd be waiting at the top of the climb for me, but they weren't. But Ultraman has these no stop zones, and I don't know where they are. Only the crew knows. I mean, I could read the book and find out, but I don't. So I just assume maybe there's something like that. They're further down. Road and road and road and road. No sign. And then my phone rang. I carry my phone in my back pocket, but you got to stop and put 2 feet on the ground to answer. It's unknown number, so I didn't answer it because I get all sorts of calls from like Amazon deliveries and things like that. I'm not stopping my ride for that, and it just kept ringing. So I stopped and answered. It was my crew. I don't know why it was showing unknown number. They'd been notified by the race officials who have. I carry a GPS tracker. I was way, way, way off course. I'd been following my Garmin GPS, and at this stage, I thought I had 25 kilometers to go. So that's about 15 miles, I think, and I was just kind of exhausted. But I was down to about 150 watts average, I think. And I was thinking, okay, I can just cruise this home. I'm going to take it easy. I'll get home in like 10 and 11 hours instead of 10 and a half. And then I find out I'm like 8 miles off course. And it was just utterly demoralizing. On top of that, I was carrying a air tag as well. And for some reason, the event said that there's a Dollar General right next to you. At the Dollar General, turn left and go straight. There was nothing. I was in the middle of nowhere. There was no way there's a Dollar General. There's not even houses to go to the Dollar General. There's absolutely nothing. So I started to ride back until I could find something that I could use as a landmark. Found this stupid church that had like 5 different names. And my crew was frantically driving around trying to find me because the AirTag was faulty. It didn't show where I was. Obviously the GPS tracker was showing me to somewhere else, and they eventually found me. And I was like, they found me because I gave them like a list of church names, and one of them worked because there's this one church had like 4 different names. I think depending on what day the church is, and so it took them about. This whole episode costed almost an hour. They raced and found me, and had contacted the officials. Had contacted the race director and explained what had gone on, because the GPS had sent me there. I don't know what the deal was, and so the race director said I can be picked up in the car and driven back to the spot where I was meant to turn. I was meant to make a turn, but I'd gone straight, so I did that. Turns out I had to do about 30 kilometers. I think it was 30 to 35 kilometers in an hour. In just over an hour, sorry. So I could manage it, but on a normal riding day, like circumstances, but I was utterly exhausted, and this had me down in the dumps. And on top of that, they dropped me at the Sugarloaf. They dropped me at the bottom of Sugarloaf, so I had to climb Sugarloaf Mountain. And I'm thinking, how can I do this? Started to ride, and then I just absolutely gunned it. Like after averaging 150 watts, for the last, I engaged Goggins mode, and for the last hour, I pushed almost 300 watts average. I utterly have absolutely no idea where that came from. I was gassed. I was done. I didn't think I had it in me. It just shows that we have something in reserve that we're not really sure about. Gassed it, got to about 5 kilometers to go. My tire ran flat again, down to about 20 pounds because it's tubeless, so it doesn't go fully flat. So I was like, at this stage, I was just racing the clock. I didn't have time to stop. I didn't even have what I would have had to have done was tube the tubeless tire, and that would have taken at least 15 minutes, which I didn't have. So I rode the final 5 kilometers on a flat tire, and it was just thumping really hard. Like when I sat on the seat, it was really tough. It's pitch black at night time. I didn't have my glasses. So I worked out if I got off the seat and basically stood up and rode, I didn't put the same pressure on the tire, so I was trying to ride standing up the whole way home. And eventually got there with 2 minutes to spare, 11 hours and 58 minutes. I was the last person to finish. A guy finished after me, but the only reason he finished after me was because he was about 50 yards in front, and he rode straight past the finish arch and had to come back and go through the arch. So he was actually ahead, but his time would show that he was behind me. And I crossed the finish line. I was just utterly spent, like I've never been spent before. And I just broke down and cried and cried. I don't know why. I don't know where that came from. And I think they interview you and stuff at the end, but they could sort of tell I didn't want to talk to anybody. A girl that I'm not, I think she's the staff, I don't know, she's like, what do you want? And I just said, I really want a Sprite. So she was awesome. She ran off and found a Sprite from I don't know where, gave me the Sprite and sat me down, and I just cried and cried, and people were coming up, and I just had nothing, like absolutely nothing left, not 1 ounce of. If I had to ride another kilometer, I don't think I could have done it. But then I was like, I got to go home, pack my stuff, get it ready, because tomorrow got to run 2 marathons, and it's an early start, 6 a.m. So it's like 9 o'clock now. I'm about to go off to sleep. Hopefully, last night I got a bit of a bad sleep. I'm going to quickly just run over my legs with the massage gun, and then I'm going to go off to sleep and hopefully can run 2 marathons in 12 hours tomorrow to become Ultraman. Day 3 run recap. I got the medal. 85 kilometers because I took a wrong turn. I had to run an extra kilometer. 11 hours. I think it was 11 hours 13 minutes. The hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I went to some very dark places, but my strategy was to run a bit quicker at the start. I think I ran the first, like there was an absolute mountain of climbing. I'll put up the elevation and so on, but I ran a 5 hours marathon to start with. My goal was to sort of split it in two and attack it as 2 marathons so that I could bank some time. I think I was around 5 hours, something like that. So for the second half, I was pretty solid. It worked out that I had to do 9-minute kilometers to get home. I was doing 6.5, 7-minute kilometers. So every kilometer I was banking 2 minutes. That was my mentality. So it got to the end where I needed to average, like my big goal, not big goal, but my major milestone was to get to 20 kilometers to go. So just less than a half marathon. At 20 kilometers, I had 4 hours. So I had to only average 5 kilometers an hour, which was 10-minute kilometers. And I was thinking I could almost walk it in then. So I was aggressively walking. When I say aggressively, I don't mean like really fast up the hills. I mean, if this is a hill, I'm walking. So I was walking every single hill, running all the downhills. I managed to basically do that until the end. And in terms of the pace, I got to the point where I could have walked it in with about 10 to 13 kilometers to go, but I was starting to feel like absolute shit. Like I commented to one of my crew members, I had about 10 kilometers to go, and I felt incredibly strong. I thought, I've got this. This is done. But then with 9 kilometers, so 1 kilometer later, so probably 7 or 8 minutes, I absolutely bonked and hit the wall big time. My legs just turned to jelly. I could barely stand up. I was just walking a slow pace, probably 12-minute kilometers. I didn't vomit at all on the run, but I just could not. I had no interest in food, no interest in drinking anything. The thought of just anything going in my mouth was just about making me vomit. And so Fiona, one of my crew members who's done multiple Ultramans, and she's also a coach, basically said, right, get going. No more of this shit. Sort of the taskmaster role. And so she started me out doing 10-minute run. Oh, sorry, 10. Well, she said it was 10 seconds. It was more like 20 seconds. 20-second run, 20-second walk. Just do that, just to get your legs moving over and see where you go. I was like, I just want people to F off, basically. Leave me the hell alone. I don't want to see people. I don't want a freaking bottle in my face. I don't want to see a bottle. Just let me wallow in my own self-pity while I walk slowly to finish this. But she's like, no, move your ass. And so I did it. And I did it for like a kilometer. I'm like, okay, I can keep going. I did it for 2 kilometers. And next thing I know, I basically did the last 8 kilometers like that. And I was probably averaging, I think it was 8.5 minute kilometers that way. But I got home comfortably for about 45 minutes to spare. I can't remember what my official time was. I don't really care. I got home with plenty of time. Um, but I was like, once I got to the end, I basically stripped my clothes except my shorts, went and jumped in the lake. It's freezing cold, it's like an ice bath. Kind of a big mistake, made my whole body cramp up. I was just getting cramps everywhere. They provide a massage service, so I went and got a massage. It wasn't that fantastic. I could barely stand up. My toes are destroyed, my nails and so on, and I was like, oh. But I had my usual can of Sprite, and I started to come around a bit. I think it was a chicken wrap or something, and so I started to get solid food back. On the way home, I had a craving for salty stuff, so I went to McDonald's. My first time going to McDonald's, and like for myself, that is. My daughters get it all the time. Probably the first time in 5 or 7 years, a very long time. And I smashed. They've got this double Big Mac. It was good. It tastes like a Big Mac, but it's not that big. I smashed one of those. Got a double cheeseburger. Smashed that. Smashed the large fries, and a smoothie. And then came back, and now I'm doing this. I've got to leave early in the morning. I'm meant to pack my stuff. It's shit everywhere, but I'm too freaking tired, so I am going to just pack some things. I'm going to set my alarm and do it in the morning. Morning after the race, just leaving my Airbnb. I've got about 40 minutes until I pick up my crew for the gala or whatever it's called. I got a craving for, I'm not a craving, I'm just freaking starving. So the only thing I can think of around here is Taco Bell, which I've never had before. So I'm going to try a Taco Bell breakfast. I'm absolutely freaking gassed. Feel like shit. Anybody that's had surgery before, the best way I can describe it is like a day or two after the surgery, where you feel like somebody's picked you up and shaking you and put you back down, and all your insides are just wrong. That's how I feel. Last night I woke up at 2:30 to pee in the toilet. I don't know what the hell happened, but I woke up again at 3:15, lying on the toilet floor. I'd smashed a rubbish bin and the brush thing for cleaning it, and a big bruise down my leg and a gash on my shoulder. So and the toilet was not flushed, so I think I'd been peeing, and then I just sort of blacked out. I don't know what it was, whether it's tiredness or any whatever. But when I was coming to, I just sort of saw sparkling like bubbles or something. So, and it was really difficult to get back to bed. I didn't get any sleep after that, so I've been up since 3 o'clock. Today I'm just going to drive about 6 hours. So I'm hoping this, like I want to go to this awards thing and see the pictures and stuff, but at the same time I just want to go home. So hopefully, it says it's 9 till 2. I'm really hoping it's not going to be. I'm hoping it's going to be like 9 till 12 and then socializing after, at which point I can just go home. But for now, I'm going to Taco Bell.